Okay, man. It's cool. I get it. You're the animator. You can stop this now. You can stop it if you want to. Don't do it. Don't let me get sucked up by this thing. Oh, man. Something's wrong with me. Hey, what's up, everybody? Today we're going to be making a tornado, hopefully. Hope this is a really quick and easy and fun tutorial. It just takes a couple of basic shapes. You might want to use Anime Studio Pro. I don't think you have to. Maybe for the jagged animated vector effects. But I'll just start off by, on our first layer, let's just call it Tornado. And I'm going to start off by using Create Shape, just the square, and Autofill. And I'm just going to draw a gray square. And then I'm going to hit T to move some points around. And then I'll hit A, and I'm just going to start adding points just to make a kind of cone shape, but pretty jagged for our tornado shape. So, oh, that looks crazy. Add some points. Let's get this more, not symmetrical, but not so crazy. Get a basic tornado shape. It's gonna be pretty rough anyway. If you want to squeeze it, you can just hit T and select the shape and then grab those side points. Make it a little thinner. And just get that basic shape down really fast for our base. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit G and select all of the points except the bottom because I want it to stay sharp. Then I'll hit C and left click and drag to the right so it's curved. So all of these points are a little bit curved. And then we're going to do a little animation. So I'm going to go to frame 1. I'll hit T and select the tornado itself so it just creates a keyframe for everything. Then I'll go to frame 12. I'll hit G. And I'm going to select all of those points except the bottom. Again, I don't want that one to move. Hit T. Then I'll left click and drag it. I'm holding shift down just so it stays horizontal over to the right, and then I'll select those two first keyframes, do a Command C, and then go to 24 and Command V to copy and paste. So now we have this little back and forth of the tornado moving. Then I'm going to select the last keyframes, right click, cycle, and we want to cycle relative to playback. So we're going to click this button, and I'm just going to make it go to 22 so it doesn't repeat the first and last keyframe. So all it's doing is moving back and forth, and it's continuing in a cycle. But now I'm going to use a technique that Victor Paredes made. If you don't know who he is and you're using Anime Studio or MOHO Pro, I suggest you check his channel out. I'll leave a link in the description below. He's worked for Smith Micro, and he's the best animator that I've ever seen, and he uses this program. So and I've used this in my tutorial for flag making, but it's really simple. So we have this animation, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna highlight, select all of the points on this tornado except the bottom two here. Oops. So I'll hit G. I'm gonna grab everything except those 2 points, and then I'm going to select these keyframes under the red points right here and pull them over a couple spaces. And that's just moving that cycle over just a little bit. And then I'll continue to do that, and every time I'm just going to go up a little bit, selecting less and less points. So I'll grab these, move them over a couple, do this again, and grab these points, move those over, and then keep going up. I don't know if I grab the same ones. Like that. And you'll see what this does here in just a second. And again, I'm just going up and up through these points and shifting them over. Basically what it's doing is offsetting that cycle to give it a kind of wavy effect. And do it one more time just for those top ones. So it looks pretty crazy in the keyframes, but if I hit play, you can see it's just making this kind of continuing cycle of wavy movement, which is really good. It already looks pretty good to me as a tornado, but we'll also go back to frame 0. I'm going to hit Q, and then I'm going to select the shape itself, and I'll double click the layer and go under vectors, and I'm going to click noisy fills and animated noise, and then offset the pixels. You can see over here in the preview how jagged the animation is going to be. I'm going to crank that up to maybe 10. It looks like 10.5 almost. I'll hit apply and hit OK. And now we have that wavy motion as well as a really jagged tornado, which just looks a little bit better to me. And that by itself is pretty good, but then we can add some more stuff to make this more interesting. So I'm going to go back to frame 0, and I'm going to show you something really cool that I just figured out a couple days ago. What we're going to do is make some debris fly around this tornado. So first I'm going to draw some debris. Let's do a new vector layer. Debris. I think that's how you spell it. And I'll just draw a square, and I'm just going to make it really jagged. Kind of whatever. Do the same thing. I'm going to add some noise to it so it's kind of noisy, and apply. That way it's kind of shaking too. Let's add some more points too. Like that. And actually I'm going to recolor it just so you can see what this little technique is here. So I'm going to click it, hit Q, select it. I'm going to just make it a darker color, just a darker gray real quick. And I am going to make it follow a path so it goes in a circle. So I'll create a new vector layer, and then I'll just call this path. Then I'm going to hit create shape, take off the autofill and the auto stroke. We just want the line. We don't need any coloring or anything. So I'll draw a circle, hold shift down so I get a perfect circle. And then I want this debris to go round and round this circle. So in order to do that, if you want something to follow a path, you need to put it in groups. So I'll create a new group. Let's call it debris path. And I'm going to grab the path and the debris and drag it into the folder. So they're both in there. And then with the debris layer selected, I'm going to change the point of origin so it's on top of my artwork. And then hit follow path, and then I'm going to click on the path. You can see once I selected follow path, it's turned pink. We'll click on that, and it connects to that path. And I want to set it to 0, which is the top of the circle. That's the point of origin where the circle starts. So I'll just hit 0 and enter, and it flies up here. And then we'll have it circle after 24 frames. You can put this anywhere, but I'm just going to go to 24, and under the percentage, while still on the follow path, I'll type in 100 and hit return. So now from 0 to 24, it's just going to go in a circle and come back to its point of origin. And I want to keep having it go around, so I'll left click the last keyframe, hit cycle. And then I'm also going to select this first keyframe and select linear. If I don't do that, you can see the debris will circle. It'll go fast, then slow. It's kind of hard to see, but it's not going at the same continuous motion. So we'll right click, hit linear, and now it just goes in a continuous pace around and round. Which by itself is not that cool, but what's really cool is that, let me shrink that down, the debris. Shrink it so it's really small. So now it's going in a circle, but I want it to look like it's going behind the tornado too. And you can achieve this by moving layers within the timeline, but there's this other way that I discovered. If you I'm going to drag the tornado inside that group as well, so it's part of the group, and then I'm going to select the path that I have here, and I'm going to use the rotate layer XY, which is basically changing the 3D position. So if I click on this and I hold shift down and drag upwards, you can see that path turns. It might look like it's shrinking it, but it's actually turning it in 3D space. And then if I double click the folder and click on depth sort, then I'll select sort layers by depth, and then also select or sort by true distance and apply. Now when I did that, you can see that that debris disappeared. That's because it's actually behind the tornado, and if I go through the timeline, it actually will orbit and circle the tornado. And the reason it's doing this is because if I grab this orbit tool so you can see from a different camera angle, if I zoom in here, I'm just turning the camera. There's our flat tornado, and you can see the debris right there. Because the path is now turned in 3D space, when it rotates, it actually does go behind the artwork and then in front of the artwork, which is really cool. Let's reset the view. So now we have a piece of debris flying around this tornado, which is really neat. But then we can also go to frame 0. I'm going to select that path. I'll do transform layer. I'm going to drag this to the bottom and change the XY a little bit, and then also shrink that circle down so it's circling the very bottom of the tornado. And then I'll go through the timeline. Let's go to 96. I'll go ahead and with the transform layer tool, I'll pull it up to the top, and I'll also expand it and turn the XY position again. So you can see now, because I moved the layer itself to go up the tornado, it's actually circling the tornado at the very, and then continue to do so at the top, which is really cool too, or I thought so. And let's make this even better. Instead of debris, let's put a character in there. So let's go ahead and just import a character that's already in Anime Studio. I'm using Anime Studio 11 right now, Pro. So I'm just going to go to Import Characters, Anime Studio 10, Bigsby. So rabbit character, I'll hit OK. And I'm on frame 0. I'll just go ahead and delete all of his animations. So clear animation from document. So it's just him. And I'm not going to animate any of his smart bones. So I'm just going to hit B, select those bones, and just delete them for now, because we don't really need them. And I'll go ahead and select his layer and make him smaller. Like this. And with Bigsby selected, and he's in that folder, so he can follow the path too. So I hit follow path, click on that path right there. His origin was off, so we'll just drag him back up there. And then again, frame 0. Let's just type in 0. So he starts at the first part of the origin. We'll go to frame 24, type in 100. And we'll do the same thing. We'll just have him continually spin around it. So we'll just hit cycle. And you can see the same thing happens with our character. See how he's spinning in front and then behind? Let me hide the debris so you can see it. So in front and behind, and because I deleted all the animation, I deleted that path animation too, so we'll just do the same thing. Go to path, go to 96, or wherever, 144. Go ahead and move this up, expand that out, and turn it. Make it a little bit bigger. And you can see now when he's spinning around, he's going to travel up and around the tornado. And his ears are reacting because they have hidden bones in them that are just, what are they called? I'll show you in a second. And even here we can animate if we want. Oh, I deleted the flag movement. Let me make that again real quick. Tornado. Frame 1. Frame 12. Just grab these. Move them over. Copy and paste. Sorry, I'm just going to leave this in the video. It's really quick and easy to do, so. Cycle, relative to cycle, 22. And I'll hit G. I'm going to grab these bottom points. It's okay if I missed a couple. Move that over. Oops. Grab some points, move it over. Grab some points. And move that over. Might be skipping some, but that's okay. Oops. It's still going to have that wavy effect. And oops, I don't know what I did there. I want to grab all of them. Whatever. Let's see how it looks. Okay, it's still got that wavy effect. So we have that and our character going around and round. The other thing I wanted to show you with the character, he's still pretty stiff. If you want to make him ragdoll, basically we'll just go to frame 0. Let me turn off the tornado so you can see the Bigsby character for a second. All we're going to do is hit B and select his arms, his legs. I'm holding shift down and just clicking on these bones or dragging over them. And then I'm going to go to bone constraints and I'm just going to say bone dynamics. And I'll just set these to 1 and close. And all that's going to do is it's going to make these bones just wiggle because they're going to be connected to the chest and the body. So as he moves around, his arms, legs, and head should flop around too. So you can see without the tornado turned on, as he's being moved back and forth, it looks like he's being pulled into the tornado. So let's turn that on and the tornado. Oops, it's hard to see, but let me zoom in. You can see he's getting tossed all over the place. And he has that kind of ragdoll physics on him. So you can throw your character into a tornado, or you can throw wood or other pieces of debris in this. You can do a whole bunch of different things. Animate a stroke to make it look like there's more of a wind effect going around. And let me see if I can do... I'm going to try something else here really quick. Let's turn off Bigsby. Just to add some texture to this. Don't know if this is going to work or not. I'm going to create a new vector layer. I'll call it texture. And I'm just going to use the pencil tool and draw a point and then hit W and make a really big dot. And then I'll hit Q and select that. I'm going to use a brush. So I'll hit brush, or where it says no brush, and select something kind of cloud-like. Maybe that. I'm going to try this. Hold on a second. G. Let me move it over. I think this might work. I'm going to make it a different color for a second. Hit Q, select it. I'm just going to make it like blue or something just so I can see it. And let me kind of center it. I'm going to make this a particle. So I'll do new particle. Call this, I don't know, cloud texture. Drag that in there. And then under particle options, let's do 100 particles. And I want it to blow a certain way. What's this look like? With particles, you always have to just kind of mess around with them until they look right. Okay, so I want them to blow to the left. And I'm going to zero some of this stuff out. 0, 0. Let's make the height taller. Okay, so I have all these particles blowing to the left. Let's spread them out a little more. Actually, I'm going to grab the particle layer, move it over, so I just want them to cover the tornado. And I don't want them to disappear until they're over here, so we need to make that longer. And let's see, particles. We'll make it go faster, so we'll turn the velocity up. So they start disappearing over here. Lifetime of frames, we'll just crank that up so they last longer too. Let's go to 44. I think that's plenty long. And move this back. Okay. I don't know what this is going to look like. It might look like crap, but let's go back and change the texture to white. So I'll hit Q, select the texture, and then hold shift down and select white, so because it's a stroke actually. And we have this. And let's double click on the texture and click allow layer effects and then change the opacity. Let's do like 15 or something, really low, and apply. And I want to mask it so only the particles show up over the tornado itself. So in order to do that, we have to use another group. So I'm going to hit new group, masking. I'll just call it masking texture, and grab the debris path, which has everything, the tornado and all that, and then the particle layer. And since the tornadoes and all its stuff is on the bottom, I think double click the mask texture, masking, hide all, and apply. Yeah, so the particles that we just made will only show up in the tornado. Let me do a Command R to render it. And you can see, because I turned the opacity down, it's pretty hard to see. But that's kind of what I want it to look like, because I don't want it to be too bright. Let's maybe double click it and make it a little brighter. Let's do 30. See what that looks like. And actually, let me, I'm going to duplicate the particle layer. So I'll hit duplicate. And then I'm going to, with the transform layer tool, I'm going to hit flip. And I'm going to move it over here. So it should blow the other way. render that and see what it looks like. I don't know. Let's see what that looks like. Let's turn Bigsby back on so he's going flying around it. Let's export animation. We'll just leave it at 240. I'm going to do it at half the frame size, so 640 by 30 or 360. We'll call it Tornado 5. So I did a couple tests before this, but I don't know if this is the texture thing is going to work. We'll see. Well, maybe. But you can literally, I could probably spend another 10 hours or something just figuring out different things to animate around the tornado, different effects to have stuff flying off it or in it. But this tutorial should give you a pretty good start if you're wanting to do something like this. And also that orbit technique you can use for planets or just having things run around another object. I just thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, let's see what this looks like. I think maybe this texture isn't the right one to use, but you can get the idea. You can add a little bit more to it. And see, let's see. That's not too bad. It actually does look like it's spinning. And Bigsby, yeah, he's having problems. Loop that. I think that looks pretty good. I think the particles could be different. I think there can be more debris and kind of rough edges, but it still looks pretty good for what it is. And I think using particles going back and forth makes it look like it's spinning better. And actually, let me try one more thing. I think this might make it even better, is to select the tornado and make it transparent. So I'm going to select the fill and turn it down a little bit too, so we can actually see through it a little bit. Let's do export animation. Let's try that. Tornado 5 or 6. And just keep that in mind. Everything that I make, all these tutorials that I do, are literally just me messing around and figuring stuff out. A lot of times I'll do 10, 20 different versions of the same thing until I think it's something that you guys might like. So let's see how this looks. I think I like that a little better. You see Bigsby, you can still see him. It almost looks like he's going in the tornado because the tornado itself is a little transparent, so let's see. Probably should skip this rendering part, but whatever. You guys get to see the whole process. Uncut and live. And booyah. Let's check it out. Loop it. Yeah, that looks better, actually, I think. I forgot to do linear around the follow path. That's why he's kind of stopping right there in the center, but that kind of looks funny too, so I don't know. I'm going to leave it like that. Yeah, so that's it. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them down below. If you like the video, you know, hit that like button. God, I hate saying that. But, you know, if you did like it and you like my videos, go ahead and hit the like button or subscribe, whatever. And I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.